Without further ado, we'll start today's Tanya for Thursday, the 8th of Nisan. We are in chapter 39. We're discussing the idea, the value of developing your kavana, the necessity of a human being, not just doing mitzvahs, but developing a kavana, a awareness and intention to serve God that one develops. So yesterday we described that there are high-level tzaddikim, that their kavanah, their awareness of God in their service of God to God, is the energy of a very lofty spiritual world called the Bria, versus angels only serve God in a lesser world called Yetzirah, which is a world characterized by the divine emotions. So they are the angels we know depict different emotions. Michael is Chesed, thank you. Gavriel is Gevura. That is because the world that they are of is the world of Yetzirah, the world that is characterized primarily by God's emotions or characteristics, versus the higher world is really characterized by Hashem's intellect, which is loftier than emotions. Okay. However, today we categorize that. We qualify that. This statement that the abode of tzaddikim who serve God with intellectual love and fear is the world of Bria applies only to those souls which are actually in the level of neshama. So, Alan, I know you like these terms, so I'm going to give you a special treat today about nefesh, ruach, neshama. For those that don't remember, nefesh, ruach, and neshama. We're on page 75 in this booklet. What? Tanya. So basically there's 5 levels of the soul. Nefesh is the biological life force. Ruach, everybody's alive as a biological life force. There's also a level of the emotional part of the soul. That's called ruach, parallels ruach. Neshama parallels the intellect. The 2 higher levels represent the out-of-body parts of the soul. Chaya would be the part of the soul that's not confined to the body. It's even while you're alive, a sixth sense or something, And then you have Yechida is the core with God. It's unified with God. Okay.
When God asked Abraham to sacrifice Isaac, he refers to Isaac as Yechidecha or Yechida, something like that.
There might be a connection, but we're not going into that now.
That's exactly what you're saying. You just mentioned Yechida.
Okay, fine. Thank you.
Well, I wanted to know if you had any relevance of that.
I don't know. I don't know any relevance. Anyways.
You say it's 3 or it's 5?
We're on page.
No, you say 3.
There's 5. So there's 3. There's 3 that the person experiences while in the body, but even while you're alive, there's a part of you that's not in the body. The part of the soul that's not in the body.
Right.
So those are Chai Yechida, but we'll put those aside for the moment.
You start out with 3.
Right. So the 3 are the main ones: Nefesh, biological life force; Ruach, emotional; Neshama, what do you call it? Neshama, intellect. Everybody, every human being lives on the level of a biological life force. The question is, can they refine themselves to be in touch with the emotional capacity of the soul? So you say someone lives in the level of Ruach, emotional, doesn't mean that they don't live in the biological life force sphere, because of course they do, but that they are in tune with the emotional part of the soul. The part of the emotional part of the soul that serves God. We're talking that has an emotional relationship to God. Then you have neshama, is a person, a tzaddik, who lives not just in tune with their emotions to God, but even that their consciousness is really constantly permeated with the intellectual awareness of God. So that's when we're talking that those people that live in the level of Bria, the world of intellect, it means that they span from the physical even into the intellectual consciousness of they activate their consciousness of God. However, this statement only applies to those souls which are action level of neshama, meaning the high level people live on the level of the neshama, means that they're in tune with the neshama, the intellect of God, the God consciousness, and which represent the superior intellectual perception of the blessed Ein Sof. They've expanded awareness. That they live, a lot of times, everybody has intellect, but intellect a lot of times is, functional. It's like, I know this so I can be aware of my emotions. I know this because the knowledge breeds emotions. I know this so I can do this. But someone who's really in touch with the intellect of about Hashem, in that kind of pure for its own sake, is a very high level person, is a high level tzaddik. And those are the tzaddikim we say live on the level of Bria. They're higher than the angels, because the angels are the word of Yitzira.
Whoa.
But the tzaddikim who are at the level of Ruach, meaning their consciousness is not as expanded to live in the world of Bria, in the world of divine awareness, that's somebody's. They're going to. But however, they are, what do you call it? They only can live in the level of, let's say, a very high level of emotional awareness of God. They have emotions, are in tune with their love and awe of God.
Wow.
And similarly, all other souls of Israel who serve God with the natural fear and love hidden in the heart of all Israel. We said every Jew has natural hidden love and reverence to God. They ascend. They don't live in the world of expanded consciousness. They live in the level of, emotional consciousness, emotional relationship. So they really, we said, are characterized by the world of Yetzirah as well, which is similar to angels. Angels are, emotions drive a lot of things, instinct, emotions. So the angels live in this world of Yetzirah, which is characterized by the divine emotions, and they feel the emotions. And most of people, the souls of Israel that are not as expanded consciousness, but they just have an instinctual love and relationship with God. They're in Yetzirah. However, they ascend to Bria only on Shabbat and the new month, the new moon of the new month, when all creation ascends to a higher level. It's only then these souls ascend to the world of Bria, the higher Garden of Eden. How? By means of the pillar, quote unquote, that extends from the lower Garden of Eden to the higher Garden of Eden, the world of Bria. The lower Garden of Eden is Yitzira. The higher garden, it's a Kabbalistic term, refers to Bria, which is called the higher garden.
So he's saying Rosh,
higher Gan Eden.
he's saying Rosh Chodesh and Shabbos are equal
Souls,
In that
all
regard.
the souls
in that regard
elevate to the level, a higher level. Yeah.
because of Shabbos and Rosh Chodesh.
Yeah, yeah.
Whoa.
By means of this pillar, they ascend, the souls ascend to delight in God and bask in the radiance of the Shekhinah. What? Yes, 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 yeah. I'm going to read a little bit from the Steinsaltz. In many works of Hasidism, in order for there to be an ascent from one level to another, there has to be an intermediate level of bittul, of nullification. When a person wants to get from a basic level of knowledge to a whole new way of thinking, he has to kind of, in the middle, there's a bittul. There's like a, don't be so stuck in what you know till now. There's a whole new way of thinking. When they first came out with the locomotive, some peasants were seeing it for the first time. And they're like, so one peasant, there must be a horse in there somewhere. It's a little horse to fit in the engine, but it's got to be a horse. They only had a certain knowledge, and they couldn't imagine a new type of fuel and transportation. Famous example, a seed to sprout must first rot away in the earth, losing its prior character and becoming nothing.
Wow.
This nullification that exists between the level of neshama and the lower Garden of Eden, and the neshama's level in the higher Garden of Eden, is referred to by the description of the pillar of the lower Eden that rise from the lower to the higher. That's the pillar. That bittul, that's the pillar. That's what helps you elevate. That's the elevator. Because what happens is, just like a pillar brings the floor to the ceiling. So basically what happens is on Shabbos and Rosh Chodesh, a revelation happens to the soul that blows it away. Now, it doesn't understand it because it's beyond its scope.
Right.
But it temporarily it neutralizes the stuckness of the what do you call it? The what? Of the soul, the regular capacity of the soul. Continues on. What happens? You delight in the Shekhinah, delight in the ray of the Shekhinah. What does it mean? Because the intellect of a created being derives pleasure in what it can conceive and understand and know. If you don't know of something, you can't enjoy it, right?
Mm-hmm.
If there's a buried treasure of $1 billion and you don't see it,
In your backyard,
or you don't know that we don't know this stone is a precious stone, then it's irrelevant to you.
mm-hmm.
Nose and grass is it you grasp with your intellect. As much as you can grasp the blessed Ein Sof light through his wisdom and his understanding, which radiated it. In other words, the elevation in Shabbos.
Why Rosh Chodesh is added together with Shabbat?
One second. So there's pleasure in the higher worlds. You're basically appreciating God more. So you might not. Okay. These souls are privileged, being regular souls, our souls, which are not on the level of expanded consciousness. They're usually on the level of just instinctual consciousness of God, emotional instinct. Mm-hmm. These souls are privileged to rise once in a while, Shabbos and Rosh Chodesh, higher than angels. Why? Similarly, the angels also serve God with natural love and fear. Why? If we don't have expanded consciousness, and they don't have expanded consciousness, so why do we get a glimpse every Shabbos of the expanded consciousness of the world of Bria? On the contrary, the angel has more emotions, has more revealed love and awe than man does. Despite that, the man, we on Shabbos we raise up to a higher world. Why? If you don't have the knowledge to appreciate the higher world, then you can't access it. You understand? Because accessing something means not knowing about it, appreciating it. But you're not made of that stuff. You're not a tzaddik that has the expanded consciousness.
Matana from Hashem. A gift.
Souls, whether of humans or angels, possess the quality and character of a specific world. And a soul that lacks the quality of a specific world is not found in that world. Meaning you can give a person any kind of reward, but if he doesn't have the identity to appreciate it, then he can't be there. Famous story. I think this is there's a story about a simple Jew who was illiterate. He was a wagon driver. He once did a major mitzvah. He saw another wagon with horses. The horses went crazy, about to go off a cliff. Last minute, he positioned himself in front of the horses with his wagon and stopped. And he saved lives. He passed away many years later. In heaven, they said he risked his life. Years went by and the man passed away. The court ruled because he had risked his life to save a number of souls, it's like saving a whole world, right?
Mm-hmm.
So he wasn't a religious guy. He was a simple, illiterate Jew. But he deserved a share in heaven, a very high level of the world to come.
Wow.
But he didn't have the Torah mitzvahs that help you appreciate the radiance of the Shekhinah there.
Mm.
The court judges, the angels, asked him, what do you want as your reward? So he couldn't appreciate the Shekhinah because he didn't have the capacity due to his kind of, mitzvah lacking life. He did one big mitzvah that was huge. So he said, I want a new wagon and 6 horses.
Okay.
And a straight path without any obstacles. And since then, he's been riding the chariot, whipping the horses, just going on and on, having the enjoyment of whipping.
Okay.
This man cannot comprehend anything more than this. And the vessel of his soul is unable to receive any greater pleasure. So this became his version of the Garden of Eden.
Wow.
An endless paths of whipping horses. So we talk about, this is obviously an anecdote. I don't think anybody really would do that. But the point is that we talk about you going from one Garden of Eden, the lower level that our souls live on, to a higher level. How does that happen? How does that happen? You don't have the tools. You're not this expanded consciousness personality. You don't belong there, seemingly. So we're going to see in a moment that the soul of man has a big advantage over angels. The angel lives in a certain domain. So to our soul is made of a certain domain, lives in a certain domain, spiritual domain. At the same time, a soul always has access to beyond that point. Because in the hidden root of the soul is embedded in God, and God's beyond all worlds. As a result, it's like a recessive gene, so to speak, in a way.
What does that mean?
Like it's a hidden gene inside the soul.
Why do you say recessive gene?
It's not the way it is. It's not its normative way of being, but it has certain embeddedness to God that supersedes any station it finds itself in.
Wow.
So, which therefore will explain as we continue the advantage of souls, because souls, through their fear and love, you know what happens? They do mitzvahs. And what happens is the sitra achra, the negative forces clothed in their body, in the animal soul, is subdued. They overcome their yetzer hara. Whether it's in the realm of turning away from bad, where they conquer and crush their desires, but not giving in to the temptation of the yetzer hara of the animal soul, or whether in the realm of doing good, of actively pursuing the observance of the mitzvot out of love of God. These souls, while in the physical world, have freedom of choice. They had freedom of choice. They might have chosen evil, God forbid. Free choice, you always could choose bad. Yet they chose good to subdue the sitra achra so that God's glory will be elevated in all worlds with an elevation similar to the spirit of light over dark, emerging from darkness, as explained earlier.
Similar to what we were reading yesterday, the angels only have one, so they don't have freedom of choice, right?
Long note here. Oh my gosh, amazing stuff. I'm sorry?
Yesterday we were reading about the angels not having freedom of choice. Or something.
Right, we're talking about that, right. Now it's a little more about that. If you give me a moment.
And they only have one intellect or something like that.
So just a little bit of some ideas here. When you use your free choice and don't give in to the natural impulses of pleasure and satisfying and whatever, you do something good instead, you're basically upending the whole natural order of things. Your moral ability upends it upends the entire system. And that's why it brings in, meaning, can a person be infinite? No, but you can stop being finite for a moment by turning away from the finite survival, pleasure, all that. When a tiny hole is in a great dam, eventually the dam bursts forth. Let's say gravity. It's difficult for an object to escape the pull of gravity. At the moment that an object passes the barrier of escape velocity, I don't know what that means. It can reach any place. The instant a person pierces the axiom that a world is a world, at the moment that he discovers in the smallest way that a world is not only olam, from the etymology of helem, of concealing God, he's no longer of that world. When a law of nature is disproved, even in only a small way, even if it's only, there's a million times that the law of nature is true, but one time you prove it's not true, it ceases to be a law. So when a person breaks the klipa in a small way, he rises above the boundaries of the world, transcending his own limitations. And that's why he has access to higher world, because you can break the system by choosing to do the right thing over the dark thing.
Okay.
The problem is we don't see this. You don't see this, right? And you get another challenge and more darkness.
Boy.
But every time you don't give in, what you're doing is you're breaking the concealment of the world of God. You're breaking the sitra achra, the klipa. And this is why angels cannot do this. Only a soul, a human being with a human soul can do this. Because even though we're more limited than angels, externally we don't have the great love and fear and even ideas that they have of God. But since we're embedded as a portion of God, with the DNA of God, so to speak, we can overcome, we can break systems, we can advance beyond what
sure.
Yeah, wow.
Wow.
Fascinating stuff. Okay, let's finish up because this is heavy stuff.
He had a question, and I did too. Same one. Shabbos and Rosh Chodesh.
Oh yeah. That's right.
So Rashad, the whole world, the inner dimension of reality is not as hiding on God. You're elevated to a more revelation level.
So, Rosh Chodesh.
Rosh Chodesh?
No, but they're on the equal.
I don't know. That I don't know. Seemingly, yeah, but maybe it's a little different. I don't know.
Sounds like from what he said.
Okay, let's finish up. All the Afrim said concerns the abode and station of the soul. Now we're going to differentiate between a soul whose abode is in Yetzirah can periodically raise to the level of Bria, as said above. Anyways, let's see. So what's the abode? In every world, there's a world, and then there is Sfirot. So even the higher worlds. There's the world, and there's the divinity in the world. The Torah and service of people, of the tzaddikim, however, are actually absorbed in the 10 Sfirot, which are a manifestation of godliness and with which the Ein Sof light unites in perfect unity. Everything has a world. God makes it all a system, but in the system there's divinity. Divinity is called the Sfirot. Specifically, this means that one's Torah and divine service ascends to the 10 Sfirot of Bria when generated by intellectual fear and love, into the 10 Sfirot of Yetzirah when prompted by natural fear and love. Within the Sfirot are clothed the 10 Sfirot of the higher world of Atzilut, and they're completely unified with them. The 10 Sfirot of Atzilut are in turn perfectly united with their emanator, the source of life, the blessed Ein Sof, infinite God. The souls, on the other hand, in contrast, so basically divinity is all united. So mitzvah, I don't care if you're doing it with like a physical tefillin, but it's connected to the spiritual form of tefillin, which is connected ultimately to God. But the soul itself, a soul is a created being. A soul maybe has a lot of godly DNA, but it's a created being. And it's not absorbed. A creation is not a creature. A creation is always going to have a divide from the creator. And it's not absorbed into godliness of the 10 sphere. It's not nullified or absorbed into the divinity. But so what is a soul? When we say a soul is of a world, it means it's in the chamber and abode of Bria Yetzirah. It's in the parameters of the world, but not the divinity of the world. There, the souls delight in the radiance of the Shekhinah, meaning the blessed Ein Sof light, as is unified with the 10th sphere of Bria Yetzirah. And this radiance they enjoy is actually a ray of the light of their own Torah and divine service, for the reward of a mitzvah is the mitzvah itself. So this explains that when you do mitzvahs, you have revelation in those worlds because the mitzvahs are divinity and the world is just kind of the looking in the glass, the binoculars or the goggles, how you could be in that, appreciate the